Alright, well, what a way to start this video, huh? Hopefully I can keep enough control of the car to where I don't spin out or run into something or run over something or someone. Don't jinx it, man. Yeah, I'm just out here in essentially the Badlands. You know, just chilling, relaxing. Yeah, you can see those mountains back there. I'm going home for the weekend, and I just wanted to update everyone on what I've been up to. I'll get into the details of this video later on. Right now, I'm just gonna head into El Paso, and I'm just gonna relax for a bit. We're probably gonna make a few stops along the way, and then we'll head home, meet up with Mama, have dinner with her. I missed her. Either way, we'll just continue on this long and winding road. Not that windy, but we'll keep going, and we'll probably record a few things here and there to see what's up, and then we'll just complete this from home so we can get into the main topic of discussion over there. Yeah, get into it. So I've just arrived here in Las Cruces. I'm home for the weekend, so I'm gonna enjoy my time here. And I'm back in the old studio, so we're getting ready to go out and have some dinner. So we're gonna do that. Got my bandana, got my hat, and got my glasses. We're good to go. Let's do it. Alright, well, after a fairly busy weekend and a few nights of overindulgence of sleep, which still hasn't helped my bags, we are here in the old studio for just for a few more hours. I gotta head back to Carlsbad. I can take this off, there's no wind in here. I just ruined something. Okay. I really have been enjoying my time in Carlsbad. It's been a learning experience that I would say is unparalleled. This, of course, is the first encounter that I have had with this internship, and so far my duties aren't really too much to be expected of right now. I can say that my duties mainly concern organizing and digitizing all the old records that have occurred with different archaeological surveys in the past, and that's the extent of what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to get into GIS. I'm not going to get into other surveying. I'm just digitizing right now. Like, that's the most that I'm doing as of when I started. So regarding my actual duties, it's not very eventful. It's just been doing a bunch of paperwork and making sure everything is where it should be. There's proper notes that were taken, proper procedures that were followed, and then just making sure, okay, well, it exists. Is there a digital record of it? And if there isn't, then I make that digital record. So it's not bad at all. For now, though, that's all on my part, at least personally. I do want to get more into the GIS aspect of it eventually, but that's not going to happen until, I would say, all the records in the record room are taken care of. That's obviously going to take a while, but I'm happy. I'm happy with what I'm achieving so far. Regarding everything else in the internship, I'd say it's been more than I expected, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Made new friends, I've made a bunch of colleagues, I've learned a bunch of new things that I didn't expect to learn, especially not from this field office, so to speak, mainly because the Carlsbad field office does work very differently compared to the Las Cruces field office, one that I've already worked at. Everything really does fly at almost 1,000 miles an hour, and it is a lot of work. It is a lot to get into, but honestly, I find Most of the tasks that are achieved there are very enjoyable, so to be honest, it doesn't really feel like work. Regarding my friends, or my new friends at least, it's been a fun time. It's been a really fun time. It is Sunday, so Aliana left yesterday. Don't know if she's gonna see this, but I do wish her well. Aliana, you got this. You're amazing. Stay awesome. Please don't cry. I mean it. I really do mean it. Everyone else did a really short internship. They all will be leaving in about 2 or 3 weeks. So it's gonna be sad seeing them go. I'm really happy that I was able to meet them and work with them and hang out with them, be with them. I know there were times where I had other things that I needed to do, as well as other times that I just couldn't hang out, but I was happy enough to be with everyone when I could be. And we went to a lot of events together in a lot of different places. There was the Cavern Fest, which was just a bunch of locals getting together, enjoying the nightlife, enjoying country music concerts, as well as a few other things, mainly a lot of drinking, but they also enjoyed the nightlife. It was a lot of fun. A few of us did go to White Sands and Cloudcroft. I didn't go with them, but some of the group did go to Big Bend National Park and a few other places like Santa Fe, which is really nice, and I can tell they had a lot of fun. That's really cool. Well, regarding things that occurred in the office, we had a run-in with every single department, and that in itself was really interesting. The NPS, the karsts, cave karsts, botany, range, wildlife, minerals, geology, realty, hydrology, and a few other departments. I'm sorry if I missed some of you. For the most part, it was just learning, having a day for each one. Essentially, just pick a day that everyone had the chance to go out. Alright, let's go look at the most interesting or the most informative aspect of the department's job. Work with it. We also got to see a mine tour, and we also got to see an oil drilling rig. Unfortunately, because of, I guess, licensing and permits and stuff, I was not allowed to take photographs or footage of anything that was occurring there. So most I can take away from it is that seeing how everyone operated these industries, especially the ones that make up Carlsbad as a whole, understand their operations, how they work, what it is that they do, how they provide to the local community, as well as beyond that. The mining rig was actually really cool, especially learning about potash, as well as the salts, and a few other things that escape me at the moment. The drilling rig was really neat, how they went through all of the process of drilling underground and using different technologies to be able to detect the oil and determine where it is they need to set up the pipelines and stuff to pump it out of the earth. For all of the departments, cave karst was really fun. It was just finding a bunch of caves and climbing into them. Of course, it's more pressing than that. Obviously, a lot of those environments do need to be preserved specifically for their flora and fauna. They do have certain agendas that they need to fulfill regarding their environmental protection. So it's not just climbing down into the caves and saying, oh yeah, this is cool, this is neat, let's disturb all of this with our activity. It's not just that. There's a lot more to it. This ties into geology as well, specifically looking at soil and landscape formations and making sure a lot of the minerals that are necessary don't really get disturbed, but there are some that can be openly taken from the public lands. It is minerals, they do require mining and stuff. There's a matter of okay, there's only so much we can take out of the earth. Hydrology was also very interesting. Hydrology mainly had to deal with a lot of the well measuring throughout the city, as well as the county and the public lands. It was a matter of making sure that everything was just at a stable water level, as well as making sure that there was enough for irrigation, enough for the groundwater and such, which was cool. What I didn't expect as well was how much the hydrology department got into erosion control. We actually had a work day where we all needed to go out and do a bunch of erosion control, mainly by placing barriers to help take away the effects of runoff water, and I thought that was kind of interesting. It was a lot of hard work, but I think it should work out as intended. I guess. We'll see. I understand that the hydrology department will be revising that in a few months, or maybe a few weeks, depending on how hard the rains hit. So we shall see. Wildlife and range was really cool. Range specifically has to deal with making sure that some of the fence lines are not impacting any of the wildlife in contrast to the other animals like cattle. I understand that like there are several types of fences that need to be placed along allotments, some that do allow for a wildlife friendly experience, mainly regarding to barbed wire. Some wildlife should not have barbed wire running across some of the fences, so they take out the bottom portion of barbed wire and just leave it like plain, just so they can crawl through, and that doesn't impact where it is that they go to. There's also like reclamation as well as restoration efforts that they tend to do. Regarding the rangelands, they do have certain, I guess, tie-ins with botany, where it is that, okay, there are certain areas here that need to be restored to their previous conditions. Maybe they were grasslands, maybe they were just a steppe or something like that, but we do need them to stay in a stable condition. How do we approach this? So they go through planning phases, they go plant the things, or they basically try to restore it. Wildlife kind of does a similar thing in a similar vein, but theirs is more like, okay, we ensure that the wildlife is protected in the best manner possible. It is not disturbed by any means, but we still want them to survive, especially where there are endangered species of wildlife. So they put up troughs for water, and I actually got to set up some wildlife cameras, you know, the motion censored ones that capture animals as they walk by. I thought that was really cool. We also got to see the results of that. Hopefully I will be able to post some images of that. If not, I understand. If I can, that would be really cool for everyone to see what it is that we captured out there. And it's really interesting to see that, okay, well, there are far more efforts that need to go into this, more so than people imagine, which I find fascinating. There were a few others. Botany was really cool. Botany does not work like AIM. A lot of this stuff does not work like AIM. AIM is very meticulous. It's essentially scavenging for information, like really digging through, sometimes literally looking for all this information from the earth itself. A lot of these departments don't really use AIM methods if they're just going to inspect things. AIM is used for ensuring that their data is up to date. However, going back to botany, they don't utilize many AIM methods. They still set up transects, but a lot of the times it's more so like, okay, are there endangered species of plants? Let's make sure that they are not disturbed by any type of project that is going through. And that's the same thing for many of the other departments as well, which is neat. I guess to top it all off, regarding my personal department, so archaeology, it all comes back to the same thing, just surveying and making sure that nothing's disturbed, everything is in place. I got to do a survey in the first week that I was out there. Once I had done all of my H2S monitor training and 4x4 training and all that stuff, it was essentially looking for cultural resources from the modern era, or like the modern era or postmodern, to ensure that none of them would be disturbed from, I think it was a refencing project that we needed to look at. That one was actually really interesting, mainly because I think the rule of thumb for a lot of archaeological sites is 70 years, so anything before 1972, funny enough, anything before 1972 is now considered a cultural resource. So we were there looking through a lot of resources that were from it was a windmill from the 1920s, I believe, and it was also a trough. I'm not sure of the date, but it was probably the same era, like 1920s, 1930s. There was also a large tank that dated to about 1946, if I remember correctly. The fence line was the one that needed to be replaced. So I thought it was really interesting, specifically looking through all that and being like, wow, this is very different from, just like looking through catalogs of information. No, we're actually looking at the actual artifacts and cultural resources. There was another fencing project that needed to be looked at. It was essentially a really long walk. But it was really cool because we're looking at cultural resources. There were a lot of reclamation sites None of them could be claimed as cultural resources, reclamation of like oil pads and stuff, but those were pretty recent as far as I know. So there was nothing to be found there. Finally, most interesting part of that, we did all that in one day, believe it or not. We also looked at ring middens. So something about ring middens is that these, I believe, have been proven as well to belong to most of the Mescalero Apache tribe. Mainly that they are essentially what they use to cook agave hearts. It's agave hearts, I believe. They're essentially burning pits. This is interesting to me because I wasn't really expecting to find something of that material culture here in the Southwest. That does interest me because that is something I did work on in Ireland, specifically the Fulactafia, the burn pits that were used from ancient times. Of course, those were, for lack of a better word, I'll call them water stoves. I know that's not accurate to call them that, but for lack of a better term or understanding of what they did, they were essentially water stoves. It was funny seeing the ring middens to be used in a similar manner. It was essentially a place where they would burn stones broken in half because of how extreme the heat was, where they would burn the agave hearts for their food, because if you're out here in the desert, you realize that there isn't much food around, and that's all they had to eat. So they wouldn't really stay there for long, but they would try to keep utilizing them. And the ring middens dot the entire landscape of Carlsbad. So it's really interesting to see that. They were trying to do their best to survive out there, and it was really interesting to research that. There were some cultural artifacts. The main cultural artifacts that were found among the ring middens were, of course, the burnt caliche stones that were broken in half because of the heat. Sometimes we did find pieces of pottery. Sometimes there were arrowheads. There were a few other things as well. Unfortunately, studying them is a bit difficult. There have been carbon dating efforts for some of the ring middens, and they date them to about 500 to 1,000 years back. But it's very variable due to how much they have been affected by the elements. Unfortunately, some of these have been either eroded or heavily disturbed by human activity, not just natural activities. So anytime we do find some cultural resources there, they are out of context, and thus they have lost most of their significance of study, which is unfortunate. I personally would take some into collections and make sure they have a proper place to be stored, and maybe even return to their cultural homeland. But most of them are just left out there just so they're not disturbed. Either way, I thought it was really cool to learn from all this. It's only been 2 months, so we're in August now, and I started June, July. I started 2 months ago. Just in 2 months, I've been through all this, and I found it really fun. It's just a lot to take in, that's for sure. Yeah, sometimes it can be tiring. It can be a bit of a drag, but I mean, it's not horrible. It's not terrible. I've been enjoying every moment of it. I'm still keeping at it. I'm gonna pack up here soon to get ready to go back to Carlsbad and continue my endeavors over there. I do have to say though that those will have to be cut short, specifically my goals in the office, mainly because this week I will be going up to Santa Fe to do my cultural resource training. I don't have to do it, but Aaron does, and I don't want him to go alone. So I'm going to be going up there. The other archaeology interns are going to be up there, so it'll be good to meet them, and it'll be good to, I guess, take everything in. Hopefully it's not too much of a drag being over there, but I'm looking forward to it. I gotta admit, coming here was definitely worth a break for me, I have to admit. I miss my mama, I miss my family, I miss my home, and it's just good to be back for a few days. And it's sad to leave for another month or so. But it is what it is. That's just how things are. Regarding the future, I know there are more interns coming into the office once everyone else leaves. And I'm looking forward to working with them as well. But I'm definitely going to miss my buddies. I know y'all are watching this whenever you do. I'm pretty hyped for the future. I'm excited to get into GIS once all the records have been scanned. I'm on my 4th folder. I've got 500 left to go. So it's going to be quite the thing. If I keep it up, I can do maybe 2, maybe 3 folders a week, which isn't going to be too bad. I understand that I have a scanner coming in exclusively for moi, so I'm excited for that. That way I don't have to get up and hog out everyone's printer to scan things. Thankfully though, I'll be able to, I guess, streamline my work a little bit better. I think I have a rough idea of how to do that. I wouldn't mind any more surveys though. So Aaron, Jesse, Brendan, if you guys want to hand some over more my way. I mean, I'd like to get some more experience, please, and thank you. Other than that, there are many things that I look forward to. I still have all these big thoughts and ideas that I want to get into. Mainly finish my notebooks, get better at playing the flute and my musical instruments, get better at more cartography things as well. I'm personally really happy where I am right now. I'm also satisfied with the work I'm doing. I know it's barely the first 2 months. I still have a long ways to go, but I'm hoping that I can keep up this high spirit energy. Yeah, I just wanted to update everyone. I'm doing my best on my part. I hope you all do too. So yeah, take care, have fun, brush your teeth, drink water. I have no idea where I was going, but either way, I'm done here. Peace. I'm gonna go pack up and head out, so y'all take care.